Allegations regarding the misuse of royal association through Meghan's Archewell Foundation are now under legal review. As a result, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, have agreed to divorce. Further details will be addressed at an official royal press conference.
You won't believe what's unfolding inside the royal corridors right now. A marriage once hailed as modern royalty's dream, now crumbling under scandal, secrecy, and legal firestorms. Imagine it, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, a couple whose love story captivated the world, now standing at the edge of public scrutiny, their legacy threatened by a single overlooked paperwork detail. One administrative misstep, a forgotten fee, and suddenly the Archewell Foundation, once celebrated as a beacon of philanthropy, is under a legal microscope. It's not just a minor hiccup, it's a bombshell that has ignited lawsuits, whispers of misconduct, and the ultimate confirmation: divorce. The monarchy itself is watching every move, every advisor, every official, every shadowed corridor of Buckingham Palace is buzzing with tension, as if the very walls are holding their breath. This isn't tabloid fodder, it's calculated, systemic, and deliberate. Princess Anne, the unflinching backbone of the crown, has stepped forward, cutting through the noise with a statement that has sent shockwaves across both sides of the Atlantic. Her words were not diplomatic. They were sharp, unwavering, and devastatingly direct. Allegations of misuse tied to Meghan's Archewell Foundation are now under formal legal review, and in response, the Sussexes have agreed to divorce. Just like that, decades of public perception, millions in charitable goodwill, and a carefully curated image come crashing down. Behind the headlines, palace insiders whisper of frantic calls, late-night meetings, and strategic moves designed to contain a scandal that, left unchecked, could shake the monarchy to its core. The Archewell Foundation, launched with fanfare in 2020, promised global impact, leveraging the Sussexes' star power for good causes. But cracks appeared early. Financial records show a dramatic drop in donations, from $13 million in 2021 to just $2 million in 2022, with substantial losses reported. Observers ask, where did the money go, and how did a charity devoted to altruism suddenly falter under scrutiny? Sources say it wasn't just poor management. Allegations suggest that royal titles were leveraged, subtly, to enhance personal branding under the guise of philanthropy. California officials flagged the foundation for delinquency, citing missing reports and unpaid fees, a $200 check lost in the system, some say. But insiders insist there was more. Patterns of influence and high-profile partnerships, including events in Nigeria and collaborations with groups like Giants of Africa, all casting shadows over the Sussex brand. By May 2024, the notice triggered cascading audits, reviews, and eventually a full-blown legal probe. The atmosphere among officials, those who witnessed the notice drop, was electric. One California agent described it as opening a Pandora's box. The foundation was immediately prohibited from soliciting or dispersing funds, a legal freeze that sent shockwaves through Harry and Meghan's philanthropic empire. Every action, every misstep, every delayed report became fodder for speculation. And as the palace watched from afar, it became clear this was no ordinary administrative oversight. This was the beginning of a storm that would reach all the way to Montecito and beyond, culminating in the announcement that no royal could ignore: divorce.
To understand the magnitude of this unfolding drama, we need to rewind to the inception of Archewell. When Harry and Meghan launched the foundation, it was positioned as their post-royal legacy, a bridge between service and celebrity influence. The vision was compelling: harness star power for global causes, all while maintaining independence from Buckingham Palace. At first glance, it seemed flawless. But behind the scenes, palace watchers and aides began noticing tensions, subtle signs that the foundation's operations were increasingly entwined with personal branding. Tax filings revealed troubling discrepancies, donations declining sharply, losses mounting. from $13 million in 2021 to just $2 million in 2022, with over $500,000 in deficit. Questions immediately arose. Where was the money going? Was the allure of royal titles overshadowing proper oversight? Insiders claimed that the blending of royal prestige with celebrity enterprise blurred ethical lines, creating friction both in the US and the UK. A lost $200 check might seem trivial, but for California regulators, it was the first hint of something bigger. The delinquency notice arrived in May 2024, halting Archewell's ability to fundraise or disperse resources. Officials described it as a prohibition, signaling potential suspension or even revocation. The gravity of the situation sent shockwaves through Montecito, and even more so across the Atlantic. Buckingham Palace aides began monitoring events with growing alarm, their concerns echoing centuries of tradition, clashing with modern celebrity influence. Enter Princess Anne, the monarchy's unyielding enforcer. Sources say she viewed the foundation's missteps not as isolated administrative errors, but as symptomatic of larger fractures threatening the integrity of the crown. Her intervention was decisive. Through palace channels, she issued a direct, unambiguous statement. The alleged misuse of royal association via Archewell is now under formal legal review. And in the same breath, the divorce of Harry and Meghan was confirmed. This wasn't a casual declaration. It was a calculated move to assert authority, protect the institution, and send a message that no deviation from royal standards would be tolerated, no matter the celebrity allure. Meanwhile, the couple faced scrutiny on multiple fronts. The California Attorney General escalated the matter, filing a high-profile lawsuit accusing Meghan of exploiting royal affiliations to solicit donations in ways that violated charity regulations. Reports suggest that funds were allegedly funneled into ventures closely tied to Netflix and Spotify deals, blurring the boundaries between altruism and personal enterprise. Insiders describe the investigation as meticulous, peeling back layers like forensic archaeologists uncovering buried secrets. Every donation, every high-profile partnership, every event became part of a sprawling legal and public relations battlefield. The lawsuit cast a long shadow over Montecito, amplifying strains in a marriage already tested by distance, public pressure, and scrutiny from the monarchy. While Harry reportedly defended Archewell in private correspondence, arguing it was a symbol of independence, Meghan faced relentless legal challenges and media attention. The growing isolation was tangible. Hollywood allies withdrew, friends vanished, and the couple's once celebrated narrative unraveled publicly. Social media erupted with hashtags like Royal Reckoning and Archewell Fail. Editorial scrutiny intensified, and approval ratings for the Sussexes plummeted, further cementing the crisis as both a legal and reputational storm. As the legal and public pressure mounted, the personal toll on Harry and Meghan became impossible to ignore. While the world focused on headlines, behind closed doors, the couple grappled with a fracture that had been quietly widening for years. The Archewell Foundation, intended as a symbol of purpose and independence, had become the catalyst for discord. Arguments, once private, now spilled into public awareness through leaks and whispered accounts from insiders. Harry, torn between loyalty to Meghan and the expectations of his royal heritage, struggled to maintain balance. Sources suggest he repeatedly tried to mediate, pleading for unity, while Meghan demanded accountability and transparency. Their previously shared vision of charitable impact now became a battlefield over ethics, control, and legacy. By late 2025, even couples therapy sessions, once seen as a beacon of hope, had collapsed under the weight of stress and public scrutiny. Attempts by top counselors to bridge the growing chasm were unsuccessful, with trust eroded by each new headline and court filing. Princess Anne's intervention, blunt and decisive, proved to be the turning point.
Known for her unwavering adherence to duty and royal protocol, she reportedly pulled Harry aside during a rare UK visit, delivering an ultimatum that left no room for compromise. Prioritize duty to the monarchy or risk complete personal and institutional collapse. The words, leaked through palace channels, resonated far beyond Montecito, underscoring the gravity of the situation. Anne's declaration tied the legal review of Archewell directly to the Sussexes' marital status, framing the divorce as a consequence of deeper ethical and procedural concerns. It wasn't merely about paperwork or compliance, it was a stark reminder that personal ambition could not eclipse the responsibilities tied to royal legacy. As divorce proceedings quietly moved through a California courthouse, details emerged of a carefully negotiated arrangement. Custody of Archie and Lilibet was to be shared equally, with structured schedules to minimize disruption. Assets were divided methodically, with Meghan retaining control of her business ventures and Harry taking responsibility for a restructured Archewell, now focused solely on philanthropic work under heightened oversight. Yet beneath the legal veneer, the emotional fallout lingered. Sources described late-night calls filled with tears and regret, moments of reflection over the decision that had triggered such a cascade of events. Harry, often found staring at old photographs, reportedly wrestled with what-ifs, contemplating the choices that led from a fairy tale union to a fractured reality. Meghan, resilient yet weary, channeled her energy into solo projects, building her lifestyle brand and maintaining a public persona of strength, while those closest to her whispered about private vulnerabilities. Beyond the couple, the palace acted swiftly to contain reputational damage. Sandringham and Buckingham corridors were abuzz with strategy sessions, where financial documents, legal memos, and communications were dissected with surgical precision. Anne, flanked by Prince William and Duchess Sophie, coordinated a protective front for the monarchy, emphasizing reform and accountability over reconciliation. Every aspect of Archewell's operations, from fundraising practices to public communications, was scrutinized. The delinquency notice was no longer just a bureaucratic formality, it had become the epicenter of a crisis blending law, media, and monarchy. Social media, already a battlefield, amplified every misstep, every revelation. Viral threads, editorial critiques, and commentary from public figures intensified the scrutiny, leaving the Sussexes isolated in an ever-watchful global spotlight. The fallout from Princess Anne's announcement reverberated across both sides of the Atlantic, igniting a media frenzy that seemed unstoppable. In the United Kingdom, tabloids splashed headlines framing Archewell's alleged missteps as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition and royal overreach. In the United States, celebrity culture collided with constitutional monarchy intrigue, creating a hybrid spectacle of courtroom drama, charity scrutiny, and personal scandal. Social media platforms erupted with hashtags like #RoyalReckoning, #ArchewellFail, and #SussexSplit, amassing tens of millions of posts in mere days. Analysts noted a dramatic shift in public perception. Approval ratings for Harry and Meghan plunged to historic lows in the UK, while Princess Anne's reputation as a stalwart enforcer of royal duty soared, with surveys showing her favorability climbing to levels not seen in decades. In Montecito, the couple's personal lives were laid bare. Public sightings of Meghan attending red carpet events alone, her poised smile unable to mask the distance in her eyes, fueled speculation about the emotional toll of the unfolding saga. Meanwhile, Harry appeared increasingly tied to UK responsibilities, attending polo matches and charity events in relative isolation. Insiders described a couple drifting into parallel lives, their shared vision for Archewell replaced by divergent paths, one anchored in royal accountability, the other in Hollywood ambition. Behind the headlines, legal battles intensified. the California Attorney General's office pushed forward, seeking transparency in Archewell's financials and accountability for alleged misuses of royal association. Court documents, unsealed in dramatic fashion, outlined allegations that millions in donations had been solicited under the implication of royal endorsement, blurring the lines between charity and personal branding.
Potential penalties included 7-figure fines, a forced shutdown of parts of Archewell, and personal liability for Meghan. Audits spanning months reportedly revealed discrepancies in reporting, highlighting transactions linked to lucrative Netflix and Spotify deals that critics argued strayed from Archewell's stated mission. The legal implications intertwined with personal relationships, further straining the Sussex marriage. Discussions with palace insiders suggest that the scrutiny over Archewell's donations, particularly to international initiatives like Giants of Africa, sparked intense debate about political neutrality and ethical boundaries in charitable work. While Meghan's legal team maintained that all operations were compliant and any clerical errors were unintentional, the public narrative had already hardened. On the royal front, Princess Anne's involvement demonstrated a rare blend of pragmatism and assertiveness. She coordinated with King Charles, Prince William, and other senior aides to contain the crisis, emphasizing the preservation of the monarchy over individual reputations. Her statement, delivered with characteristic steel, framed the divorce as an inevitable consequence of both marital and institutional challenges, tying the Archewell investigation directly to the couple's separation. Insiders indicate that her directive was clear. Total reform and accountability were non-negotiable. Any reconciliation would require adherence to royal standards of conduct and transparency. Meanwhile, whispers from Buckingham Palace highlighted a growing sense of urgency. Camilla, though cleared of direct involvement, faced criticism for enabling an environment where the internal conflicts could escalate. The monarchy's inner circle moved to protect younger royals and other charitable entities from potential contagion, ensuring that Archewell's missteps would not set a precedent. The convergence of legal scrutiny, media scrutiny, and royal oversight created a pressure cooker that left the Sussexes navigating an unprecedented storm. Each day brought new revelations, from courtroom filings to insider accounts, magnifying both the public fascination and the personal consequences of a story that began with a single administrative lapse but quickly evolved into a saga of empire, duty, and fractured ambition. As the year drew to a close, the reality of the Sussex divorce settled into the public consciousness with undeniable weight. The once glittering image of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle as a modern fairy tale couple had been replaced by headlines filled with legal jargon, financial audits, and palace strategy. Divorce papers filed discreetly in California formalized what many had long suspected: irreconcilable differences amplified by scandal. Custody arrangements for Archie and Lilibet were carefully structured to ensure stability, with shared time between Montecito and potential UK visits, a delicate balancing act intended to protect the children amidst unprecedented public scrutiny. Assets were divided methodically, with Meghan retaining control of her business ventures and Harry assuming responsibility for a restructured Archewell, now focused on philanthropic efforts tied strictly to Invictus-related causes. Behind the public veneer, the emotional toll was profound. Late-night phone calls, quiet moments of regret, and the persistent ache of lost dreams haunted both individuals. Harry, torn between loyalty to his family and his personal commitments, reflected on the decisions that had led them here, while Meghan, resilient yet privately vulnerable, channeled her energy into new projects, seeking autonomy in the wake of a fractured union. The monarchy itself emerged from the storm with reinforced authority and clearer boundaries. Princess Anne's decisive intervention preserved the institution's integrity, demonstrating the power of firm, strategic leadership.
Her action sent a message. Royal standards were non-negotiable, and any deviation would have consequences, even at the highest levels of modern celebrity. Analysts suggested this would serve as a template for future interactions between royals and external ventures, emphasizing accountability and oversight. Public sentiment was complex. While many expressed sympathy for the personal struggles of Harry and Meghan, the broader narrative framed the couple as a cautionary tale of ambition unchecked by tradition. Media outlets dissected every detail of Archewell's operations, financial discrepancies, and the resulting legal suits, contributing to a narrative that positioned the monarchy as both victim and arbiter of justice. Social media continued to amplify the story, with millions engaging in discussions, sharing memes, and debating ethical and familial implications. Globally, the saga sparked conversations about the intersection of fame, responsibility, and duty, raising questions about the limits of celebrity influence within historically rigid institutions. As 2026 began, the Sussexes moved into distinct chapters of their lives. Harry focused on charitable projects aligned with his personal passions, while Meghan expanded her business and media ventures, each forging paths that emphasized independence but carried the lingering shadows of public scrutiny and legal entanglements. The monarchy, meanwhile, adjusted to a slimmed-down future, maintaining public confidence through measured transparency and firm management of internal conflicts. For Princess Anne, the outcome was a validation of her role as the enforcer, protector, and strategist, ensuring that the crown remained resilient against internal disruption and external spectacle. The lessons of this episode extended beyond the palace walls, illustrating the delicate balance between personal ambition and institutional duty, the potential consequences of blurred lines between charity and personal branding, and the human costs of public life under relentless scrutiny. In the quiet aftermath, the emotional resonance lingered. Private reconciliations with reality, grieving what was lost, and navigating the next stages of life were tasks left to Harry and Meghan, away from cameras and headlines. Yet the story remained far from over. Court proceedings, appeals, and media narratives continued to unfold, each chapter reinforcing the lessons of accountability, transparency, and the enduring power of tradition. For the public, for the royals, and for the Sussexes themselves, the saga of Archewell, the legal probe, and the royal divorce would remain a defining story of ambition, scandal, and the enduring tension between personal desire and duty. The royal world had been reshaped, the players repositioned, and the narrative etched into history, leaving everyone watching, waiting, and wondering what the next revelation might bring.